Welcome into another victory post-game edition of Believe in Panthers. That feels good, Stu. I don't know if I've said that too many times in the 5 years that I hosted this show, 6 years. Desmond Johnson in the house with the Panthers all-time leading rusher, Jonathan Stewart, coming off of the Panthers' 30-27 victory off of the field goal at the end of the game after the Panthers put together a final drive with about 6 minutes to go in the fourth, tied 27-27. Bryce Young and company getting after it, get down the field, bleed the clock, bleed Dallas's timeouts, kick a field goal, Sweet Caroline, everybody go home. Like this is the second week in a row I've been able to sing Sweet Caroline from my couch at like 4:20 in the afternoon. So it's
Were you actually singing?
I do. I sing the Sweet Caroline, the bump bump bomb. Good times never so good, so good. I don't know the other line after that. So I sing that little part. I sing that part. Good. And then after that, I just let Neil keep singing, and I'm just
Sweet Caroline.
I love it. Just a close game. We're gonna get into the specifics of it here in just a second, but we always start off with Stu's thoughts on what he saw. He's actually at Bank of America Stadium, watching the game, enjoying the festivities. It felt like we watched this Carolina team grow over the past 10 days. Like it felt like I could see it through the screen. They looked more confident, like offensively and defensively, like they knew what they were supposed to be doing. What were your thoughts watching it live, Stu, from BOA?
Yeah, man, it's exactly what you just said. They knew exactly the game plan because they ran it last week. Copy and paste.
We said it. We called it. Yeah, do that.
Stop the run the ball. Rico Dowdle. We're going
to get the Rico.
Hit him with that Rico. And it was absolutely a treat to see him being able to stack the same type of performance. Obviously, last week was 206 yards, but, I mean, what do you expect, from the rush for 200 yards a game? I mean, maybe at this point, but he had 30 carries for 183 yards, man. And that's hard to do. The offensive line with the injuries, mind you, we have 3 starters down from the beginning of the season as far as the offensive line goes. The depth, as far as what we've always questioned, Desmond, going into each season for the Carolina Panthers, the offensive line is in good shape. We run the ball. We make it easy for Bryce Young to deliver the pill when we're asking him to, because of play action. The countless times when we want on first downs. First of all, winning on first downs opens up your playbook, and when you are able to open up your playbook, we got to see a lot of nice little wrinkles in there today with Canales and company. I loved what we did in the second half, getting Jimmy Horn Jr. in the mix out the gate. It basically kept the defense honest, and right there on that drive, which was a really important moment, was connecting with Rico Dowdle out of the backfield. He was unguarded, linebacker or whoever was guarding him got caught up in the flat, and he just ran right past the guy and scored for a touchdown. But these nice little wrinkles you're able to do when you are able to dial in those runs early and often. He had double-digit carries going in mid-second quarter, and that's the DNA of this Carolina Panthers offense. And it was good to see them go out there and execute today. The pass blocking was decent for the most part. Bryce was able to control the controllables, and we had one turnover with T-Mac early in the game, but he was able to bounce back and shake it off like the guy that we know he is. Yep. Him having a lot of his family in town watching him, he was able to show out, which is pretty cool. Having 2 touchdowns, his first touchdown this game, and then to be able to have it a 2-touchdown game for his first time getting in the end zone is pretty special. But more importantly, a special win for this organization, being 500 on the season right now, 3-3, and 3 home game wins. Yeah. That's crucial. Protect the bank at all costs. If you have to claw, scratch, call the ambulance, call the tanks, whatever you got to do, you protect the bank, right? Because that's the most important feature to this game of football. You win for the home crowd. and I'm pretty sure that everyone today is going to go into their week feeling good about themselves.
Two things I need to bring up. Starting off with Rico Dowdle. In my notes that I keep for Sunday on my phone while I'm watching the game, I wrote Rico is gashing good open script the first 15 plays that they put together. I love the fact that they did, like we said, what we asked them to do on our Wednesday show. Let's be run heavy. Let's not depend on Bryce to get the offense going. He doesn't need to be that guy. Let's give it to the hot hand. And I noticed it last week. And I noticed it more this week because Rico got up to 25, 26 carries, something like that.
Yeah, 30 carries. 30 carries for 183 yards.
He got 30
and
carries.
not just that, he had 34 touches, right? He had 4 receptions for 56 yards, 1 touchdown.
He runs different. I love Chuba Hubbard, but Rico runs different. He runs through people. He ain't about the juke or the okey doke or the razzle dazzle. He just runs north south. Like if you're in the way, he's going to run through you. He's
an all-purpose knife.
I love it. And he's going to bring up a question now that I didn't think we were going to have maybe next week or so. What do you do now? Do you start Rico or do you start Chuba when he gets back? Because Chuba's supposed to be your your main guy, but you brought Rico in to kind of help out. Rico just had history the past 2 weeks. I thought I heard the announcer say he's the first player in like 60 years or something to have 200 plus yards from scrimmage in back-to-back games. I don't see how you bench Rico and bring Chuba in when you're on a 2-game winning streak, and it's primarily because of Rico and your run defense. So I feel like Rico should be the starter until whatever.
Until proven otherwise, right? Absolutely. Yeah. Chuba's an outstanding back, and that's why you got both of those guys in here because it is a long season. Rico's got the hot hand. I've been a part of running back groups where the guy that has the hot hand, you just roll with it, and it's a no-brainer. Obviously, everybody that's in the backfield wants to get their chances to carry the rock. Trevor Etienne got a chance to get in there towards the end of the game again. Literally, it was copy and paste from last week against the Dolphins. Rico cramps up because he's carrying the team on his back. And then he needs a little break, and then Etienne goes in there and he does a tremendous job picking up the first downs and running the same scheme. And kudos to the coaching staff, Dave Canales being able to stick to the program, right? Oftentimes you see other coordinators, they get a little shaky when guys come in and out of games and they try to switch things up because of the personnel. That's why you have to have depth. That's why you have to have guys at every position that can do very similar things, if not the same, because now you're able to just move the chains, move the sticks, and go on as business as usual when you do have a guy that goes down with an injury or that needs a break, because that's what makes good teams. You look at all the other teams in the league, they're going to run their playbook. And we ran our playbook today, and we got to actually see some wrinkles that came out that's pretty exciting. Having Jimmy Horn Jr., I'm telling you, that second half was jump started by Jimmy Horn and his speed.
I don't understand how he was wide open like that, like down the field.
Because he's fast.
Yards. Yeah, I mean, no one even left with him.
He's fast, and they haven't seen him throughout the course of the game, right?
Yeah.
So when you have a weapon like that, at any point in time, you can drop the bomb. So it was awesome to see, the variety of packages and the variety of plays in the second half. And I just think this was a perfect game, perfect example of taking advantage of the opportunity. The opportunity was to stack wins, but do it against a contender that a lot of people have trust in and believe in, especially with Dak Prescott on the offensive side of the ball, right? Mm-hmm. Defense stepped up in a major way. Trevin Wallace played an amazing game in pass defense, making crucial breakups. This team battled against a lot of weird flags that were being thrown throughout this game.
Yeah.
But that's what we talk about, maturity, right? Can this team be mature? Can they grow in that area and overcome adversity? There was adversity in this game. They overcame it.
So back to my part about Rico and him just being a different runner. I think Dan signed him to a 1-year deal. If I'm Dan Morgan, I'm extending him right now. Like I'm in the locker room, like, hey, Rico, let me talk to you real quick. I don't know the rules of how you can do that in the middle of the season, but there needs to be a serious talk about keeping Rico here a couple of years to pair with you.
Rico Dowdle has made himself a lot of money in the last 2 games.
In 2 games,
he's made himself a lot of money in these last 2 games. And it's mid-season. There's obviously the people, the powers that be make those types of choices, right? Makes those decisions. But right now,
price won't get no cheaper. Yeah,
it's not going to get any cheaper.
It's going up.
Price definitely went up today.
Panthers learning from week to week. That was the thing that we talked about after they beat Atlanta in that 30-0 thing. Was it all Atlanta or was it us? And we found out the next week versus New England, some of that might have been the Falcons. Last week when they beat Miami, we were like, okay, we liked what we saw at the end of the game and how they took the lead. Miami took it right back. Carolina goes right back down, takes the lead, wins the game. We were like, that might have been the game where it was the stepping stone for the players. Like, oh, we can do this. The stuff we do all week actually works on the field. So I was very interested in this game because we kind of knew it's set up similar to the Miami game where you've got a team coming in that can score on anybody pretty much whenever they want. Got a pretty decent quarterback, although I wrote Dak as top 5 quarterback in the league, watched him today with limited stuff out there. George Pickens was basically Jaden Waddle today. Like literally, he was the only thing he really had out there that he could use. And the tight end from Dallas did some work today too. But they couldn't get anything on the ground. I went to go look up the box score because I thought they got off more on the ground than they did. This Carolina Panthers defense that I was really hard on the first 4 weeks of the season, they have come alive like in the last 2 weeks. Like they have just snapped or something. They only allowed 31 yards on 19 rushing attempts. That's 1.6 yards per rush. This is the second week in a row. Last week, they allowed less than that. They allowed 18 yards for the entire game. They have allowed 49 yards rushing in 8 quarters of play in a pro football setting. It boggles my mind because it's the same. They have changed the scheme a little bit. It's not this 3-4 thing anymore. They kind of got 4 down linemen now. And they're kind of running a 4-3. And sometimes it might be 3 down linemen with 3 linebackers behind them. And they're running like a nickel, like a shell behind it.
Yeah.
But whatever they did, they clogged up the middle where now you're seeing Derek Brown like making all kinds of plays, just random disruptions, just all over the middle of the line. And for some reason, teams keep trying to run in the middle because they saw last year you could run up the middle in Carolina. Guess what?
Derek Brown wasn't in the middle. You can't do that no more.
He wasn't in the middle last year. He was hurt.
Bobby Brown the third.
Jordan,
Derek Brown,
Pat Jones, they swarm. They
Thornton, Princely.
It reminded me.
All them boys was getting busy.
It reminded me of previous Panther defenses where, you would always have some dudes on it, but the entire defense would swarm to the ball. Everybody's coming to the ball. There's 6-7 dudes trying to tackle you.
But you talk about the secondary too, right? The secondary is physical. The secondary is coming up and making plays. Nick Scott coming in there making his presence felt. I saw him running around today. Moreg, ever since, the identity of this defense has shifted with the players on this roster that were brought in this offseason. And what we're starting to see from last week to now is they're starting to understand who does what. Last week, Trevin Wallace, you're going to call plays. That's what you're comfortable with. Roseboom, be free to do whatever you need to do to make a play. And the defensive line, the front 7 has just been playing really lights out, in my opinion, when that run game. That run game was non-existent today. It was non-existent last week. I'm excited to see if it's going to continue to be non-existent because if that's the case, we are putting the NFL and the fans on notice as far as what's actually here in Carolina.
That was the best first half I've seen Carolina play probably all year, to be honest. Where it wasn't Atlanta, I'm almost using Atlanta as an outlier. Like that was kind of Atlanta just kind of self-exploded like in front of us, and we took advantage of it. This was a game where it was 2 evenly matched teams, in my opinion. And the first half, we were down 17-13 going into the half, but we did some stuff right there at the end of the first half to get that field goal to cut it to 17-13, knowing we were getting the ball back in the third. Like the clock management was on point. It feels like Dave Canales and Ejiro Evero and the coaching staff, it feels like they're learning too. They're getting confident too, as well as the players. And it's like a symbiotic relationship because Canales was doing some stuff today, play calling wise, allowing Bryce to kind of go down the field a little bit more. than he had been previously. It's like the leash is getting a little bit looser where he's allowing Bryce to do some things later in the game. They got in trouble when they were doing it with Bryce early in the game. Bryce would push, something would happen, interception, fumble, loss of down, whatever, and it would push the team back, and then they're in a hole. Today never felt like they were really in a hole. It felt like they were in a fight. It felt like they were going back and forth, and that's different.
It looked like Bryce Young was legit in control of the game today.
Mm-hmm.
I think he took a lot of steps forward last week, and it just shows to this week. The last two and a half quarters last week against Miami, he took leaps and bounds in confidence. He took leaps and bounds in leadership, right? And you see that in this game today, out the jump, the command of the offense in his own way, his own demeanor. He grew up today, but it's easy to do when you have a guy like Rico Dowdle. We've been saying he's a dog. Today he was a horse.
Yeah.
That boy was a horse. That boy was out there running, okay? And when you have a guy like that, and you have a Carolina defense that can come in and make stops, crucial stops in the red zone, keeping the Dallas high-potent Dallas offense out of the end zone, Dak Prescott's a really good quarterback.
He is.
And
he really is.
We were able to contain him and send mixed messages on disguised blitzes. Right there in the red zone towards the end of the game, we were able to throw him off course a little bit because we were sending little blitzes here and there just to throw his timing off. We didn't get to him, but we're able to get him off of his dot. Mm-hmm. And when you're able to do that, you create turnovers on downs. You might not get an actual pick or a fumble, but turnovers on downs is turnovers, right? That can almost, if 3 and out is defeating.
Yeah.
as we know, right?
Especially for teams that are used to scoring and they're getting put in 3 and out a lot. Yeah. The Ike Ekwonu, I want to mention him real quick because he's been kind of up and down in terms of the fans. Ike Ekwonu is a road grader. You put him in situations where he can block in the run game. He's one of the best in the league.
He's one of the best run blockers in Carolina Panther history.
Yeah, and we knew that when we drafted him, but for some reason we've been trying to make him into this pass blocking first kind of, and that's not him. That was not when he was at NC State. He got drafted in the top 10 because of his ability to run block, and it seemed again, Dave Canales and company just kind of turning keys and figuring out what works or what not. They got to week 6 and they're like, okay, we're going to run the ball because we saw what happened last week with Rico. Let's see if that was a fluke.
Yeah,
no, that was not a fluke. That's
Rico Dowdle is not a fluke. Rico Dowdle is what can we say? Is he the best running back in the league right now? He's running like it. He's running like it.
The stats say it.
I don't know who else is running like Rico Dowdle. I don't know. Point me to a guy and convince me otherwise.
Something else too, looking at the box score and looking around the league, I realized this even more so today because I felt like Dak threw for more than what he did. He got to 261 on 34 attempts with throwing. I think the days of us seeing 300-yard passers every week are over for now. If you look around the league and see the quarterback stats with them throwing the ball, they're all early 90s, 230, 240, 250 yards, something like that, and about 30, 35 attempts. Where if you go back to not even that long ago, but from really the greatest show on turf, 99 for 20 years, it felt like we were getting 4,000 yard, 5,000 yard passers. The only way to get there is if you're throwing 300 plus yards every single week, like a Matthew Stafford company. Even he's not doing that anymore. The defense is caught up, it felt like, and we're seeing a little bit of that now where I think teams are reverting back to let's run the ball. Basically, it's a copycat league. Who won the Super Bowl last year?
Well, you run the rock.
They do it.
We've been so stuck on, hey, we need pass rushers. And guess what? Pass rushers are usually littler guys, right? And so if we have these defenses that are now being built to get after the quarterback, and not everybody's necessarily got a guy like Derek Brown and the guys that we got on our. But look, we actually are built perfectly, in my opinion. A'Shawn Robinson, Bobby Brown III. You got some heavy jokers in there.
Yeah, the
big job, Dan. Dan Morgan is the man. But we're built for the old school ways in which we're used to playing football.
Yep.
And I think you're exactly right. The passing game, if people are faster, that means your windows for throwing, into tight coverages are going to continue to get smaller and smaller and smaller. And so only way that you can open that up is if you do have a run game that allows you to do so, which brings that mid-tier level more close to the line of scrimmage, and you are able to get behind that mid-tier level on the field for intermediate throws. You start to see, Dallas did a good job running those deep digs with Pickens. I mean, he had 168 yards. I'm not really sure how many yards of that was on that actual type of route. But the middle of the field is one of the things that we do have to get better at in coverage, because we've been getting hit on certain routes combinations across the middle of the field throughout this whole season so far. So if I'm going to point at anything, as far as what to be aware of and what I saw in today's game, defensively we did a great job stopping the run. We did a good job when needed getting Dak off of his dot, but when we continue to show up in spots where we fail to cover the middle of the field in the passing game, we will face someone that's going to expose us.
Yeah. Luckily, next week is the New York Jets, who I don't know what's going on with them. Now I've learned my lesson. I'm not going to overlook.
They lost today with 11 points. It's like, how many spills?
I think I heard them say that the Jets had negative 11 passing yards or something today. Like they took 9 sacks or something. We get to see them next week. We go on the road and get to go see them in the Meadowlands. Real quick, I want to hit some of the comments because a lot of people here today.
That is not a good stat.
I didn't even know that was possible. I didn't even know that you could even do that. It's like they're just throwing the ball backwards all day. There's a couple comments, and when we get to our FanDuel bet here, of course, we're presented to you by FanDuel. Willie Smith says, let them young cats play. This is a good team. David Withers says, offense and defensive lines were absolutely dominant today. BY9 was clutch. I knew Rico was a dog last year when he ran all over us. That streak continues, as you brought up last week. Then anytime Rico Dowdle runs at Bank of America Stadium, he's going to run for a whole bunch of yards up a bunch of people's backs, and that continued today. We'll see if that can carry on the road next week against New York. What else I got in here? One Bengals JB fan said, Jay Stu, you always believed, and you did. I
always believed. Listen, ladies and gentlemen. I am officially known as Pusha Positive. I'm pushing positivity. I'm pushing hope. Call me Pusha Hope. Okay.
As soon as we gave that moniker, where we were like, we're pushing positivity. What's happening?
And we already got receipts. The train already left. So
yeah, we told
don't get on. We ain't got no room. But I'll tell you this, man. Rico Dowdle is the reason why you can believe in the Panthers. The offensive line is the reason why you can believe in the Panthers. The defensive line and how they're playing and stopping the run is why you can believe in the Panthers. The secondary being physical in the run game is the reason why you can believe in the Carolina Panthers.
The play
Bryce Young commanding the offense, going through adversity in ways that a leader should. And every game's not going to be perfect. Something bad's going to happen. But what do? Are you mature enough to handle it? Are you in do you realize that people are looking to you to show them the way? Because I think this offense, this team has that with Bryce. And then you look at Dave Canellis. You believe in the Panthers because Dave Canellis knows how to call plays. This season, he's finally gotten into his rhythm because he has guys that he can dial up on. Think about that. Again, we always talk about this concept. If a chef is in the kitchen without the right ingredients, you're going to get bland food. Not this year.
That's a little spicy. A little cayenne pepper. Dave Canellis cooking. It also helps too with your play calling when your starting running back has 13 runs of 7+ yards going into the top of the fourth quarter. It's like, what? Every time he's running the ball, it's almost the first down.
Every time he ran the ball on first down, it was 7 yards.
Yeah.
Besides one time. Besides one time today. You can't stop that. Like,
No.
if you were Dallas, like, you are demoralized. You're like, hold on, this is diabolical. What's happening?
And this is our boy,
Protect us,
too.
coach.
This is our boy. See, this is my thing, too. I'm watching this game, and I'm like, I get it. They keep saying they tried to sign Rico. They tried to keep him. They needed to keep money.
To do nothing.
They wanted to keep money for Micah Parsons stuff. Micah Parsons not being there today is one of the reasons why y'all didn't get but one sack and didn't have a whole lot of pressure on Bryce Young all day today. Micah Parsons was a large reason why y'all won that game.
They did get one sack. They did get us on one sack.
They got one sack and a loss of 5 yards. But to Carolina's defense, they bounced back from it. The interception early in the first half, I can't put that on Bryce because Bryce put the ball exactly where it was supposed to be, and it just went through his fingers. Wet day outside, it's windy. That kind of thing happens. The Cowboys made a great play on the ball.
Ended up scoring.
Yeah, that ends up happening.
But we responded to that.
We responded. Exactly. That's my point. Previous Panther teams, the past 2 years, would have took that and put their head down. They would have been like, okay, here we go again. Deja vu, Groundhog Day. These Panthers this year, they look at something like that when it happens and they race it. Like, they're like, okay, next play, which is what we've been waiting for. We've been waiting for them to start doing that, and now they're doing it. But again, when you've got a running back going 30 carries for 183 yards, 6.1 average clip, like his longest was 15 yards, but he had like a bunch of them that were 12, 13, 10, 9. I mean, like it was just death by large cuts today from Rico Dowdle. Like,
death by 100 cuts. In this case, it was death by 183 cuts, 183 yards, 30 carries. He was cutting boys up 6.1 yard. How many yards?
6.1 yards per carry.
6.1 yards per carry.
And then, like you said,
it was 6 cuts per carry.
4 receptions, 56 yards for 14 yards a carry. Every time Rico Dowdle touched the ball, it was like double-digit in yards he was going to get. If you got somebody doing that, I don't care what team it is. If you got some position player averaging close to about 8-9 yards every time he touches the ball, he touched it 34 times. You're going to be in some games. And Dallas,
I hope he goes off next week, too.
That's what I'm saying. It's setting up perfect because the Jets are inept. Like, they are not good. I think they are the worst team in the league. I think they're still the only winless team in the league. Now I'm sitting there thinking about it. I'd put Baltimore up there, too, because they lost today, too. They've lost 4 straight or something like that. They've completely fallen apart. I don't think we play Baltimore this year. We play the Jets next week. So, like, that it's getting up there. Let me get over to the FanDuel bet of the week. On Sundays, we've been giving you guys Monday parlays. With Monday Night Football coming around, and this week I actually picked there's 2 Monday Night Football games. One of them is the Buffalo Bills, who may very well be the best team in the league, taking on the Atlanta Falcons, which I picked because they're NFC South opponent, who we beat a couple weeks ago. The FanDuel FanDuel Sportsbook 4-leg same game parlay, Monday night Atlanta. 4 offensive stars, speed to the end zone at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It's the same one I gave you last week, but different players. So, Stu, Josh Allen, anytime touchdown scorer. James Cook, anytime touchdown scorer. Bijan Robinson, anytime touchdown scorer. And Drake London, anytime touchdown scorer. If that happens, it's at plus 1456. A $10 wager wins you $145.66. Is that something you might be interested in?
I wouldn't do it. I would take that bet minus Drake London, which you can do. You can go and customize your own parlays. So if I were you, I would take the Drake London touchdown out because I just think that's just too good to be true.
Yeah.
Or at least one of those are not happening. It might be Bijan not happening for whatever reason, or it might be Cook not happening for whatever reason. But I feel like this is a game where Josh Allen just comes to shine, especially after last week the Patriots lost. He's gonna put a couple more. He's gonna grab some weight and put it in his book bag and carry it.
The Bills maybe. We had Bills Ravens in the AFC Championship game, and then the other ones we thought would be there around them are having problems. The Ravens might not even make the playoffs because they're at 1-5 right now. I believe. I think the only team that ever made it at 1-5 is the Redskins in 2020. They got to the playoffs. They snuck, but they went on a long streak, and I don't see Baltimore doing that anytime soon. Kansas City can't count them out. We've learned that the hard way, but I don't know if they're as strong as they used to be. And even other teams like the Chargers and others in the AFC, no one's really emerged to take on Buffalo like that, in my opinion, except for maybe the Colts, which we didn't really even think about earlier on in the year. So that Buffalo thing is they're going to be hot on Monday. T.V on here on the message thing said, I believe so much I had a 4-leg Panther parlay, Bryce, T-Mac, Rico touchdown, and a Panther win. So how about that? That's you talking about pushing P. Like that's some hope right there. Putting that parlay in. I
Next
hope
time you make them type of bets, let us know.
I hope you made $1 million on that bet too, because that's one that even FanDuel's probably like, I don't think that's gonna. Let's put it in and see if somebody takes it. And T.B put it in there. So that's your FanDuel parlay for Monday. Final thoughts here on the game overall in terms of what you saw and everything. Just real quick before we get out of here, Stu. Panthers win again. That's what I like. Panthers win again.
Yeah, man. Panthers.
It's weird. This is weird.
No,
it's weird.
I don't even want to say weird. I'm going with this is expected. You're a professional football team, and you know what? It's been a long time coming. Carolina Panther fans deserve this one. The Carolina Panthers as a whole deserve this one. Enjoy it. Rest up. You got more work to do. But this was a confidence-building game. Dallas Cowboys, America's team. A lot of these cats grow up watching football all their lives, and you get a chance to play against the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones and them. And you get to do that at home and be able to do it in front of this crowd and be able to put on a show like you did today. It wasn't a perfect game, by any means. But when you talk about, the physicality, finishing blocks, guys blocking downfield, making contested catches, Renfro showed up huge.
Oh, that fourth down catch.
Fourth down catch. Bryce Young, ice in his veins, delivers the pill. Rico Dowdle does what he does. He's a horse. He's everything that we need him to be. Trevor Etienne, the rookies, Jimmy Horn, always ready. You know what I'm saying? This is a group of guys that I think you can build on, and we're seeing it happen before our eyes. You got the Jets coming up. That's a favorable matchup for you to continue to stack and go to 4-3.
Or 5-3, actually.
5.
Oh no! Wait, no. I'm sorry.
4-3
with this game. You're right.
We're 500 right now.
Real quick, and then we'll get out of here on this note. One of our producers at Believe, Lindsay, had just texted me and asked Jay Stu what Jesse Holly said about Rico the other day. What did
Jesse basically said that Rico, he ain't all that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He did he?
and I went to bat for Rico. Okay.
All right, well.
And I said, nah, y'all just mad that y'all ain't got him. That's something that you would say when you arguing with your little brother over a toy, and you're like, man, give me that toy, right? And your mama come in there like, nah, you ain't getting that toy. And then you say to yourself, I don't want that toy anyway.
Now you want it more.
Now you want it more.
You want it even more. I bet if they could choose today between. And Javonte Williams is my boy. He went to Carolina and everything. And he's not a bad running back. He's been holding the load for.
He's just behind a bad offensive line and a bad offense.
Which is crazy.
Not a bad offense, but
usually
Dallas running plays just don't fit his running style. I don't know.
Well, I mean, when you run into Derek Brown 10 times, it's not going to really work out for you. And I think the league is going to eventually figure that out. But yeah, if they could trade Javonte Williams for Rico Dowdle right now, I think Dallas would take that.
How about them Cowboys?
Shout out to the 30,000 Cowboy fans that were in the stands.
There was a lot of them here to witness Rico Dowdle go to work. How about them Cowboys?
Because the only thing, and I'll leave it on this, when we kicked that field goal to win and Fox followed that football into the goal or whatever, all you saw were Cowboy fans in the crowd like this. And I had to remind myself, oh, this is a home game. We are at home.
How about them Cowboys?
Fans like this, like, oh no, we just lost again. What happened?
I feel bad for Dak Prescott.
I mean, I
feel bad for him because he's a good quarterback. He's a good dude.
Yes,
and he deserves better.
Is better elsewhere?
Better is elsewhere.
We'll leave it on that note. We'll have our midweek episode previewing the Jets coming up. They'll probably drop on Believe probably Wednesday. You can find it on youtube.com/@Believe. And you can find the audio on all their major podcast platforms that are out there. We'll have that ready for you. Maybe have a get. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if there's any Believe in Jets hosts that are interested in even talking about their team right now because I've been there. I understand what they're going through right now. I've been there. I also don't want to be the team that gives them hope. I don't want to go in there and drop a dud.
We don't want. I'm not associating myself with anything from the past when it comes to the Jets and how we've been there.
Yep.
I don't remember it.
Fresh.
I'm like Men in Black with that little thing, that little silver thing.
The clicker, yeah. So Panther fans, maybe it's a new era. It is a new era. We're going to declare it.
It's not maybe. It is.
Here's a new era. Get on board. I said it a week or two ago. This kind of set up where it kind of set up like 2013. You were on that team where Ron Rivera had been here for 2 years. He was kind of on a hot seat. On year 3, you started out like 1-3 or something like that. They got real hot in Carolina. Then you guys rattled off like 8-9 straight wins. Unexplicably finished 12-4. Got in the playoffs as a wild card. I believe Seattle. I think we had to go to Seattle, and Seattle beat us, and Seattle went to the Super Bowl. But that kind of set up a 3-year run for Carolina and Ron Rivera and yourself and that team, where they just started winning conference championships and winning things, and eventually making it to the Super Bowl and having the best record in team history. So, I'm not saying that this team's going to do all that. I'm just saying that it's tracking so that they can. One win at a time. Keep stacking. You got the winless New York Jets coming up here that just went negative 11 yards passing today against a hot defense in Carolina that's not really letting people get much of anything. So we'll preview that game and more. Make sure you find us this probably Wednesday. It'll drop. So find us there. We're gonna get out of here. Stu got to get home. I gotta start cooking dinner or something. Panthers win 30-27.
Let me shout out the offensive linemen first. Shout out to Icky, Damian Lewis, Cade Mays, Brady Christensen, and Yash. Yash, you came in there, boy, and you just kept on playing.
Didn't even know. Right. Yeah, never never lost a beat. If you never hear the offensive linemen's names during the game, and you just hear them collectively as a unit, that's a good thing. That's a really good thing. So shout out to them for doing their jobs and bringing their work pails today or lunch pails today to work. So we're going to get out of here. Check us out midweek here on Believe. Keep pounding. Panthers win 30-27 over the Dallas Cowboys.